when I initially thought of sort of posting my World of Darkness Promethean game as a podcast, I realized that it would be impossible to do so without first explaining the basic rules of World of Darkness. Now I want to explain the basic ideas of what Prometheans are. So join me while we go on a little journey, the abridged history of the Promethean. A Siberian shaman infuses a corpse with spiritual essences, and it lifts its arm of its own accord. Galatea the Muse is made of wax, and life is breathed into her by the gods. Osiris is slain, chopped into pieces, and the parts are reconstituted by his sister wife, Isis. But she forgets to find one. The ghetto-bound Jews of Prague create a man made of clay to protect them. And Victor Frankenstein has to prove that God is wrong, that he can usurp that power, and so he resuscitates a corpse. What's the one thing that these all have in common? The common theme would be that the common string is that these are all tales of life given to the lifeless, life returned to the unliving. This is all made possible in the World of Darkness by a substance known as Azoth, the divine fire. The very same fire stolen from the Olympian gods by the titan Prometheus. As such, these beings are known as Prometheans. The divine fire is one of the least known substances in the World of Darkness. Like the flame of a forge, it can create, but like the wildfire, it can wreak havoc. It's a powerful catalyst, essentially a substance of pure potential. So it sounds like, as such, it can bring a statue to life and make the impossible possible, for good or ill. As such, it might seem like a good deal to be one of these creatures, but Prometheans have a very unique curse. This curse is known as disquiet. The uncanny valley is the name given to the revulsion that fills a person when they see something so near to being human, but it's not human. Prometheans live at the deepest pit of the uncanny valley. The Azoth can only do so much to hide the truth of their disgusting forms. Stitched body parts, bloated figures, inordinate amount of sweats. These things are swept aside by the Azoth, but any human can tell that something is amiss. The disquiet can inspire perfectly reasonable people to lash out against the Promethean, dealing whatever physical, emotional, mental, or financial damage they can. What's worse is that when the disquiet grows too powerful, it becomes communicable between mortals, like a disease born of malicious gossip, which can inspire a pitchfork-wielding mob. Disquiet, hunger, pain, failure, these can all inspire the worst in a Promethean. These outbursts are known as Torment, and they differ based on the lineage of the Promethean. A Frankenstein suffering torment might grow drunk on rage and try to harm someone when they've done nothing to him. Meanwhile, an Osiris will turn inward and cold, trying to solve a dilemma without actually having the capacity to do so. Thankfully, Prometheans are exceptionally tough and durable. They need to be to survive. Not only do they not suffer wound penalties, but they're not killed by lethal wounds. Nor do they start bleeding out when they sustained aggravated damage. Although if you inflict enough punishment on them, limbs will start falling off. They will begin to die. But they are still exceptionally durable. And they can even regenerate when exposed to electricity. Strangely, though, they're undone by fire. So the only way for a Promethean to free themselves of the cycle of disquiet and pain is to transform the Azoth within themselves into a true soul, transmute lead into gold, so to speak. The histories of Prometheans are mired in tales of alchemy and such. As such, there are 6 different paths to becoming human, and they're all alchemically analogous. That being said, Prometheans can also alter their body alchemically to perform a series of bizarre effects. The simplest and most straightforward path to becoming a human is known as Aurum, the path of gold. The basic principle is becoming human by being among humans and acting human. It allows a Promethean to focus their body's alchemical processes on deceiving mortal senses and mesmerizing their enemies. A step removed from the path of gold, but still very near, is Cuprum, the path of copper. Cuprum is all about observing mortals and using these observations to reflect on the self, Prometheans following Cooper focus their alchemical efforts on altering their bodies and heightening their senses. The simplest of the refinements would be Ferrum, the path of iron. They consider ignoring the body to be folly. The soul is attached to it. There has to be meaning behind that. Those who follow the path of iron find ways to train their body for both attack and defense. Sadly, though, so few of them are able to find mortality through the path of iron. Followed is the most complex, Mercurius, the path of Mercury, the refinement of Azoth itself, that elusive element. The Promethean's body is a perfect crucible for refining Azoth into an even rarer substance known as Pyros. Likewise, a follower of Mercurius attempts to turn the Azoth in their body into Pyros and the Pyros in their body into an actual human soul. So what I'm saying is, Secrets of Azoth or something. Those who follow the refinement of Pyros are great crafters and alchemists in their own right, able to create strange items and things. Then there is Stanum, the refinement of tin, the refinement of that torment state. The Promethean's condition is necessarily a miserable one, and if that's such a necessity, there has to be a reason why. Those who follow the path of tin embrace that rage, they embrace that sorrow. The refinement of torment enables a Promethean to warp disquiet and master electricity itself, strangely making them healers of sorts. The last refinement isn't a true refinement at all. It's a regression into true monsterdom known as Centimani, the refinement of flux. If Azoth is the fire of creation, flux is its polar opposite. Flux is a blaze of disaster. When someone tries to make a Promethean, if they should fail grievously, the disparate parts of their body will rip off and form little monstrous forms, bladed hands adorned with mouths that crawl into the hidden places of the earth, the forgotten places, waiting for Azoth to consume. Those who follow Centimani are either so selfish that they would ignore such warnings, or would rather be a tiger in the forest instead of a man. Then again, there are others so deluded that this foolish and dangerous path of madness and ruin could possibly lead to mortality. Those who practice Centimani change their body into terrifying forms, capable of wreaking havoc on Promethean and mortal alike. A Promethean game is predicated on despair and pain. Yes, the way is horrible. Yes, it's awful to be a Promethean, but there's always that hope on the horizon, that one good day to keep them going. For Prometheans are unique in the sense that they have a clear path to becoming human. They have a clear path to happiness. Though it may be fraught, and for some of them it may be impossible, it's still there. Vampires, for instance, in the world of darkness, can redeem themselves and become human, or at least the rumors persists, but there's no true proof of that. Every Promethean knows with absolute certainty that it's possible, and that's the hope that sustains them. But they may find that at the end of their pilgrimage, attaining that reward might have too high a price.